Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief. We are back at our home ops center this morning after being on the road for a couple weeks. So it's good to be back. It's good to have the flight suit back on. We got a great show for you today. Obviously, you know that Trump signed the relief bill yesterday, so that's going into effect with the $600 stimulus checks. And of course, there's going to be a big push today to increase that to $2,000. So we'll talk about that. Also, Barron's came out with a big article yesterday on relief stocks. So again, you're talking things I don't normally talk about. You're talking about hotels, casinos, airlines, and cruise lines. So we're going to talk about some of those names today and whether or not you should have your money behind those. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back, everyone, and thanks so much for joining in this morning. Here we are in the morning brief, back in home operations, so it's nice, at least for my setup, have all my screens instead of trying to do everything off of the one screen that I was doing in both Las Vegas and Alabama, as you know, from my travels. So it's good to be back. All right, we're going to invest with Fighter Pilot Precision today like we do every day. Make sure you have your chat window set up and your Q&A window set up with all attendees selected. And the standard disclaimer applies. This is a financial education presentation, so you have to do your own due diligence for acting upon anything you hear in this presentation. Full disclaimer information is available at ototnow.com. All right, our mission objectives for today, December 28th, are to grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Today, we're talking about some topics to grow our money. When you think we're talking relief package and the relief stocks, like I talked about in the open. So when you think of the market, you think of growth and value. Generally, we spend a lot of time in growth names. We're looking for high margin, best of breed with a moat, addictive products or services, sticky products or services like subscriptions. All of those things are things we like to put our money behind. What we don't spend a lot of time are talking about pure value stocks. So when you think value stocks, think like Warren Buffett and the old cigar butt analogy. He would rather, pick up a cigar butt in the street that somebody else has left for dead. That's not generally my type of investing, but they were just talking about on CNBC this morning, is value finally going to get its due? Value has been dead for at least before the global financial crisis in 2007 and 2009. It's been a growth, and you could almost say even before 2000, if you will. It's just been growth, to where you've made all your money. The value stocks, think AT&T, IBM. These are now considered kind of dinosaurs, and they've been left for dead. So are they going to get their moment in the sun? Well, we shall see. Okay, the question today is, what is the gift tax exclusion? There's a lot of confusion with this. So we're going to pull that up on Investopedia and talk about the rules on what you can do and what you can't do, and the implications of giving your money away, which, once you get to a certain point and you start giving your money away, you just want to make sure you're following the appropriate rules to do that smartly and tax efficiently, of course. All right, our flow chart today is going to be long, short, open, short, long. We're going to go around and talk about the market review, where we've been. We've got, the end of year coming up on a Thursday, if my math is right. Yes, Thursday. And then, of course, we're off on New Year's Day. So, again, only 4 days of trading this week. So another short week. And together, light volume. Most of the window dressing that happens at the end of the quarter has already happened. There are still a bunch of names in play, but a little lighter on the volume. So whether those names stay at the current price levels, we'll see going on into next year. All right, we'll take a look at the headline reviews. A lot of that's relief. A lot of that's obviously COVID. I took my first COVID test yesterday, tested negative, got my results this morning. So even though I've had this annoying cough in the room, as you know, for the past month, it's still allergy based. And of course, now that I'm back in Texas, the cough comes back. But what's going to happen with COVID? What's going to happen with the vaccines? How much have we rolled out so far, and the effectiveness? All of that is going to be under the headline review today. The long-term investments we're going to talk about Caesars, Wynn. We're going to talk about Wyndham. This is extended stay, so a bunch of hotel conglomerates. We have Marriott Vacations, and of course Norwegian Cruise Lines are the names we're going to take a look at. We'll get into our short-term execution, which again will be a lot easier now that I have my full suite of displays available to me. We'll execute the market open and transition to the Q&A. For contingencies, if you have any issues out there, reach out to me at steve@ototnow.com, and we will get those resolved for you. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the TD Ameritrade ThinkPipes platform, which is here, and what you're taking a look at is the 1 year, excuse me, it's 9 months of SPY and review. So basically taking us from the March lows all the way over here on the left, all the way up to where we are today. You can see again, big up channel from the V-shaped recovery. I don't think there's any argument on that anymore, but V-shaped recovery, and then basically uncertainty going into the election, and now pretty much a straight climb post-election going on up. So we've got the vaccines are rolling out. We've got what appears to be a peaceful transition of power underway, which is important for the democracy, regardless of who wins. We do have the Georgia elections coming up. That could be a huge wrench that's thrown into everything, but that's not really the expected outcome. So we shall see. But other than that, people are kind of positioning their money for the themes that are poised to outperform during the Democratic administration that we're going to have for the next 4 years. So that's where the money's going. And there's a lot of positivity coming out of the projections for the first quarter of 2021. And we could see an explosion as far as people that have been, somewhat suppressed, if you will, by staying in their homes, following rules. And now once they're allowed to get out and support restaurants and travel, that, it could be a huge reaction. So that's why we're going to talk about the value stocks today. All right, when you take a look at the past 5 days, that's what you're looking at here. It's really the past 4 days. So the red line was the weekend, and of course we had the short trading week last week. What do you see here? Yeah, this is a straight line across. Again, not a lot of people working the week of Christmas, but not a whole lot in motion. Individual names, of course, will be in motion, but as a whole, market kind of pretty well just bebopping along into the end of the year. And of course, this morning, this dotted line was when the futures opened this morning. Of course, we're going to jump on the relief bill being signed into effect. All right, and here's our displays. You have the full display again this morning, depending on what device you're looking at it. If you're on a PC, you can see this very clearly. But again, we're back to our 4 screens with the SPY on the left, and then 3 names that I have thrown in there, including Alibaba off to the right, which has obviously been in trouble with some regulators, which we will see in the headlines here in a second. Okay, let's take a look at the CNBC for our headline review. Refresh this real quick. Okay, you can see all the futures are in the green there, 200-point gain. Okay, it's down to 164. So that's kind of optimistic. I mean, I do think today is going to be a green day, but maybe not as green as it is right now. It's quite the pop on the news of the bill that we all assumed was going to get passed did get passed. So don't know if the excitement that you see in the futures here necessarily holds all day. European markets are up big, pretty much off our news. Remember, they're open right now before ours are even open. Here's your Alibaba headline. Now, 8%, that's overseas. Over here in the US, we had the big move down Thursday, the last trading week of last week. Obviously, I like Alibaba. The issue with the Chinese government is certainly not good, but it's also not the end of the world either. because the Ant Financial IPO is going to happen. Alibaba owns a third of that, and they're going to make a ton of money with that. So yeah, they're coming under some scrutiny, but I'm not worried about it. It's not going to pull a Luckin Coffee that went from $51 to $1. But I do think it holds 200. Right now it's sitting at, well, while I was talking, it basically dropped from 217 to 215. So maybe somebody's listening there. But I do think it holds 200. So it'll sell off maybe 1% or 2% today as people kind of reposition away from it. But there's certainly going to be people like me that are going to come in and buy even more during this time frame. If it would go below 200, it's going to be a back up the truck scenario. The company is just too big and too strong and too important. It is a golden goose for China. So why would they shoot it? Even if they're not that smart at realizing it's the golden goose, you're still not going to shoot the golden goose. That's my opinion. All right, here are the numbers from last week. Again, kind of small. Bonds up a little bit, almost to 1%. So again, we're keeping an eye on that level. For oil, holding nicely right in the middle of that 40 to 60 range. So it's kind of not in the news anymore. Silver's been on fire lately. I got a couple of pings over the weekend from folks going, hey, should I be buying silver? All my smart friends are buying silver. And I'm like, well, standard answer, you can up to 10% of your portfolio, put it into precious metals. And you can try to trade in and out of them off the tea leaves or off your emotions or whatever system you think you have to trade in and out of it. I don't know. When uncertainty going to rise going into the election or into the new year? I don't think so. What the storyline is that inflation is right around the corner, and a lot of people are screaming, if you will, Chicken Little about skies falling with inflation, when really the same thing happened in 2009 when we went through all of the quantitative easing. People screamed about this is going to cause inflation. We are printing money. Well, we aren't really printing money, and it's not really the normal conditions for inflation. So I think it's the same story again, and it's just nothing. It's not going to happen. If anything, interest rates are stuck lower for longer. We've got the Fed saying that. We've got me saying that, and a million other people saying it. So I'm not alone in that boat. But there's far more people that think that this is a calm, cool, collected situation where we're just surviving a pandemic and getting back on our feet, and then we'll do the right things going forward, versus the end of the world scenario that fiat currency is going to be out, the dollar will crash, you will need to transact entirely in cryptocurrencies. That's just, I'm not personally ready for that. I think that's still kind of a hyperbole situation for the believers. And I mean, I follow them on Twitter, and it's a straight cult. The Bitcoin folks and ADA folks, it's like, whoa, I can tell they believe. I got that. Same thing with silver. I think people that believe that storyline but are still too scared of cryptocurrencies are buying silver, and largely because gold's just too big of a price point. So that's my take. I wouldn't go out and buy silver. I'm fine with silver going up. I know that some folks have coins. That's good. Obviously, the spot price could be higher on silver, and that's just fine. So that's my take. Speaking of Bitcoin, all the way off to the right here, looking at it did touch 28,000 this week. So remember when it dropped from when it had that resistance at 20, and then it dropped down to like 16,000 or so, and people were saying you should buy some. And well, yeah, it's okay. It's 27. So yes, if your entirety of looking at something is the past like 2 weeks, then yes, they were right. I was wrong. We'll see if it holds up here. People, your Bitcoin enthusiasts are calling 100,000 in the short term, $500,000 per Bitcoin in the long term. Their marketing is strong. I've listened to some of the stuff on Twitter, and when I do, it makes me want to buy Bitcoin. So good on them. I mean, it's strong, but we shall see. I'm still not sold. I still don't own any of it or any in the for my clients. So that's that's where I am. I'm still looking. Okay, so here we go. COVID relief bill. So when are people going to get to their $600 checks? I don't know, maybe by the end of this week. The Treasury can move pretty fast. They've already done it once, so the mechanisms are there. So I think it does happen pretty quickly. I think that, there's not going to be a lot of personal take, because there won't be a lot of traction behind the 2,000. But then again, it's the end of the year. People are in a good mood, so maybe they pass it. I don't know. We should know really by today whether that's going to happen or not. Okay. Alibaba, again, those shares are plunging overseas. Let's see. Wonder Woman came out. Unimpressed. I thought that was too easy of a movie to pull off. So that instead of making her awesome and taking care of bad guys, they made her weak and conflicted. I don't know. Is that what we need right now? Is weak and conflicted superheroes? So come on. I wanted to see this thing, and I just want to see her beat up bad guys, right? But it didn't happen. So don't know what the AT&T was thinking there. Okay. All right. Let's switch over to the Schwab Advisor Street Smart Edge and take a look at these names. Again, Caesars is there's 6 names on the board. We're not going to look on Finviz. None of these are profitable right now. Obviously, we're in a pandemic, so that makes sense, but none of these are profitable. The only ones that are supposed to become profitable are the hotel chains, which are going to be profitable sometime in 2021. The top 2, Caesars and Wynn, are both casinos. They are not projected to be profitable for at least a year. And then, of course, the bottom right one is Norwegian Cruise Line. Again, not going to be profitable in the next year. They've canceled a bunch of cruises. It's going to take too long for them to recover. So if I had to put my money into anything on here, I would put it into stay, which is extended stay, which still, it's on the edge of profitability. It's at a nice price point to buy in. So if you're a believer in value here and a believer in recovery and a quick recovery, this is a good place to put your money. I'm not buying this today. I may take a pass on the entirety of the value stock and relief thesis. I think there's going to be money to be made in the short term. I think there will be day trades all through 2021 on these stocks popping higher. So I would love to sit and take advantage of that situation. But for long-term investing, I will take a pass. Okay, as far as our short-term stuff, you see in the chat there, let me just saw somebody pop in. So let me get that back to you. 4 names for us to look at. IMV, which I can't remember what their name is, just IMV Inc., right? Pharmaceutical, the COVID-19 vaccine news, they are up 9% on that. This is kind of a low price point. So you're looking at a lot of shares and probably a 5-cent stop, but plenty of volume for you. The next one is AstraZeneca. You may have heard in Europe, they're getting a certain strain of COVID or a certain vaccine passed to deal with the secondary strain that AZN thinks is effective. And they also have a Japan story. So they are gapping up as well. It's a better price point and a better picture for the stock. So I think that will be my primary actually. And IMV will be secondary. LCA, not gapping up on news, but they're expected, again, this is a couple times they've gapped up now, looking at 8% pre-market. Again, Golden Nugget Online Gaming, that direct listing should happen in the next couple of days. All right, from the short side, the only thing we have, and I don't like it very much, so I'm not going short, is Fubo TV. A million shares to the downside. It's dropped 8% on really nothing more than it ran up so much and now it's just kind of selling off. So not much of a short thesis to put our money behind. All right, let's switch over to TD Ameritrade and get set up for our trades. So we're going to put the 3 longs across the top here. So we have, let's look AZN first, and then we will look IMV, and then we will put in LCA. Again, all 3 are longs. And give me a second to get my chart set up, and then we'll get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the On Time, On Target play of the day. We have 20 seconds until the market is open for the week. We have 4 screens in front of you. To the left is the SPY, 1 minute. The futures are up and we're trending up. So we're going to take a look at 3 longs. We have AZN long, IMV long, and LCA long. For AZN, that'll be my primary. They have a vaccine news, positive news out in, here's the positive news out in both Europe as well as Japan. So we'll be looking to take them higher. Again, that'll be a 50-cent stop if we do. IMV has, check my notes here, also positive C19 vaccine news, again, going higher. You can see it's already at 9% up, where AZN's fallen. Look at that sell-off in the first minute of the market. So we'll keep an eye on that. And the last one is LCA, which is going to do a direct listing to Golden Nugget Online Gaming. So 327 low is the pre-market. Let's take IMV long. Ooh, I wanted that entry at 330 with a 5-cent stop. Come on back down to 330. Ooh, I just don't know if we're going to get 330. All right, there it is. Take it at 330. Actually get a better entry here since I didn't get it. What is going on with the cursor here? All right, 330 is your entry. That's what I called. That's what we're going to get. So there, you still have a chance to take it at 330. 325 is your stop. So in at 330, I've got to get rid of this screen. So we're in, there we go. In at 330. We are long in this name. I'm about to say some ugly words this morning. What is going on with drawing? Oh, go down here. Drawing tools. Come on. Pencil. How hard is this? All right, there it's out we're back out of this. So if you got in it, which I didn't because I'm dorking around with this drawing, we're back out. 325 just hit. So you're back out. It's below the low of the day. And obviously I have some work to do on figuring out what got messed up from me being on the road. So see if these others work. Nope, not working at all on any of this. So we will give that up. And for some reason, Siri is
on it,
on my back on another screen. So all over the map here, let's get rid of these drawings completely. Okay, and we'll talk about the individual names. All right, the market is selling off. I'm going to refresh on another screen. What we have here, so it's mostly tech that's selling off. So the Dow's still up 0.55, S&P up 0.6, as you can see in the upper left-hand screen. But a lot of people selling this morning. So our three longs, none of them are working. Let's switch out of AstraZeneca to Fubo TV, which is a short, and BABA, which is also a short. I wouldn't short into BABA from what I said earlier there. So let's see, down 7% for Fubo, down, bouncing up here. I don't feel confident enough to take Fubo short just because the storyline really isn't there. There just isn't enough of negativity to go along with it. BABA, again, I think it holds 200 easy. It sold 8% off overseas. It's at 2% now. So could it run down lower? I think so. Only the most diligent folks out there are buying right now, which I probably am not even going to buy today. I'm probably going to wait to see if there's a lower entry for myself. So we'll see. All right, LCA. Again, that's a long based off of the direct listing, but it's certainly not really working that much already. Let's take a look at Luck and Coffee, since we're talking Chinese names, down 5%. You could look at shorting into Luckin on the day. I don't think there's anything that moves Luckin higher after it did its basically 100% move up. So I think it's still in the profit taking mode. So when you back this chart out to a 5-day chart, it was up at $10. Let's go back even to like a 10-day chart. So here, this tells the story. Not even worried about this sell-off, right? Because obviously you had the huge move up, a triple basically from, it doubled up to 7 and then again up to 1057 was the high. This is not uncommon after you see something move up that much in 2 days. Not worried about it. Again, back when this happened, I was hoping it would hold 5. It held 5 easily. I think this probably comes into maybe 7 or so, maybe down to 650 before it starts getting bought again. So people probably don't want it, big money managers probably don't want it on their books towards the end of the year. So they may be taking a pass on it, but then wait till the 1st of January before they buy it again. Okay, let's take a look at some other things that are going around. Market is finally bottomed after that first, 4-minute sell-off, almost 5 minutes, and now it's starting to go back higher. All right, let's see what's going on here. LKYSF's a psychedelic name, so is EPWCF. There's our LCA at 4%. Nikola up 3.5%. They've been kind of left for dead. Same thing with FireEye, got hit big after the hacking event. Tesla's been selling off, so a little bit of life back in Tesla. QClean's a name that we talk about regularly now. And again, it's one of my favorites as far as the themes going forward. There's 5 funds that I use to capture those themes, and clean energy is one of them. So it has been doing well. Apple's up a couple percent today, so that's good news for the book. Single largest holding and largest holding for most people out there. All right, let's take a look at the negative side. Clickstream selling off, Luckin selling off. Moderna, that's kind of surprising, right? In the middle of the vaccine rollout, one of the big names is selling off, so we'll have to see what the headline is there. BioNTech is another one. Zoom selling off a little bit. Kind of makes sense. Zoom will sell off hard if obviously if the vaccine works and everybody has it by like April. Zoom's probably going to tank. So if you have some of that, I would look at maybe taking an exit in that. Obviously, I have some in the book because it's here, but not really by choice. Kind of been advising against it, but we shall see. All right, KWeb is another one. This is largely down due to Alibaba being down. It's all things Chinese tech. Okay, that's it for the market. So overall, let me refresh on another screen. Actually, we can go back to that screen and we'll see where the markets are. So we're up 200 earlier. We're still up 150 now. Yeah, so things are still holding in the green there. And again, volatility's up a little bit, but not significantly. All right, last thing I want to close with is the question of the day. So let me get Investopedia pulled up here. And it says Finvestopedia. Investopedia gift tax exclusion. There's a lot of confusion on this, so it's worth talking about it on occasion. So gift tax definition. So every year, you know that you can only give so much money away, right, to avoid taxes. And the taxes you're avoiding is the estate tax. So when you pass away, first to pass away passes everything else to their spouse if they're married. And then the second to pass, then the estate actually goes into, a legal, it becomes a legal entity. They pay off all the debts, and then it moves on to the beneficiaries at that point. So you can see kind of down here in the key takeaways for 2019 and 2020, and I have not heard of a different number for 21. It's 15,000 per recipient. So when you go to give money away, that's saying you can give 15,000 without doing any tax forms. Now, if you are married and both of you decide to gift 15,000 each to, say, a child or a grandchild or whatever, then you each have 15,000 as far as your exclusion. So it's kind of 30 if you're a couple. If you're obviously not, then you're limited to 15, and that's per recipient. So say you have 3 kids and you're married, you could literally pass $90,000. So 15 per child, and then double that because you're married, 90,000 annually without having to do any paperwork. So gifts made to your spouse don't count. That's liquid back and forth between a couple. And again, it's because with the estate that goes into play when the second to pass passes away there. Okay, your lifetime exemption is this number here. This 11, I just say 11 million because it's kind of an easier number than the exact number. And if you're not in this ballpark, you don't care, right? Because it's not close to you. But over $11 million. So if this year you wanted to buy someone a house, and you bought the house for $300,000. Well, obviously, if you're married, there's 30,000 of that you don't even have to talk about. So in that case, you would fill out a form identifying that this year that you gave a gift of $270,000. Again, you gave 300,000, but 30 you don't have to count. So you fill out a form saying I gifted so and so $270,000 this year. So what happens at that point is your lifetime exemption for hopefully many years when the second to pass and a couple passes away, and all of this goes into the estate and works its way down through the legal system, is instead of having 11,580,000, you have to subtract out your over gifting during your lifetime, which in this case, an example we just used was $270,000. So your lifetime exemption would drop from 11,580 to 11,310. Okay, well, if you're sitting there at the 3 to 5 million level, yes, you can give away money and it's not going to affect you as long as the lifetime exemption stays at 11 million. Well, don't forget these things can move. This is something that depending if we would, I don't think 4 years of a Democratic administration would move it, but certainly if maybe Harris did 4 years as vice president and 8 years as president. During a 12-year period, this is clearly going to come from 11 million back to what the Democrats have supported traditionally down towards the $1 to $2 million range. So what you're doing, the move you make now, even though you could base the math exactly off of 2020, but if you don't pass away in the next 3 days, the 2020 number doesn't make any difference to you. It's what the number is going to be when eventually you pass away. So, and that's an unknown. So there is some risk in gifting money past the 15,000 per year. Now there are some folks I work with that want to maximize that out every year because their money is above the 5 million mark and they're growing it aggressively, and or they own a business that's exploding. So there is time to start moving money down the generational ladder. But if you're sitting in the 1 to 3 million camp, you don't really need to be in a hurry to do that. It will happen eventually. It always does. So you don't have to worry about that. Okay. Let's see what else we can. Charitable gifts are different. They follow some different rules. If you're going to gift out there, gift out of your IRA, and it's tax-free up to $100,000 in gifts, which most people aren't hitting that. So there's the 30,000 per couple and not just to the same recipient, which is important. And there's some examples. And of course it says contact an advisor if you need help. So, all right, that's all I've got for today. I will get this chart fixed so I can draw on it. So we don't have to go through that drill again. And with that, I will see you guys back tomorrow. You guys have a good one.